So what's up, YouTube community? I figured I'd make a video today. Partly because I could use some prayer but um, yeah. So lately, I've been questioned a lot. A lot of people have been asking me about making more videos, getting back involved in making apologetic videos, and that's actually kind of what inspired this video here. Asked me if I'm going to get back involved in doing that, or if I would. I've been encouraged to do so, um, and so I figured I'd just kind of answer the question why I don't make apologetic videos anymore. And the reason, in short, is there's a few reasons, but I guess they're in a sense they're kind of all related. Um, I don't. I don't any longer, partly because I got tired of arguing with people. As I've gotten older, I've become more mellow, and I just don't want to argue anymore. I just don't want to. um, and also, the biggest thing really is the transition that the Lord has been putting me through, really in this last year, 12, 14 months. Um, it's really as though the Lord has been, Giggles, move, telling me, Chris, what you need to focus on, what you need to be concerned about now is not Paedo-Baptists or Unitarians or Arminians or this, that, or the other, but you need to be worried about me. And that is my personal growth, my maturing in Christ. Just my personal relationship with the Lord is what needs to be developed and worked on and needs to grow and mature. And that's where I'm at in my life. I've found that I could argue all day long about the sovereignty of God or whatever other topic, and it doesn't bring me any closer to the Lord. It doesn't make my life any better. So I'm in a place right now where apologetics just really isn't my thing. Now, that's not to say that I don't defend the faith or would not defend the faith in a situation, but going out of my way on a YouTube channel to make videos or challenging people to debates or whatever is just simply not my thing anymore. I'm on a different path, so to speak, these days. So that's really the main reason. Is I just I'm in a different location in my life, so to speak, and that's where the Lord wants me, and that's actually I'm quite fine with it. Because I need to develop that personal growth anyways, because it was lacking. You get caught up in things that don't matter, and it takes away from things that do matter. So that's where I am with that. But also another big thing in my life is that I'm going to be... part of what this growing and developing that I've been going through is I've realized, I was reading something the other day. Not that it was new to me or anything like that, but it just, sometimes when you're reading something, it just kind of hits you. It takes on new meaning or manifest itself in a different way because of maybe where you're at in your life. And so I don't know, it was a couple months ago or something that I was reading, through Hebrews and talking about, the heroes of the faith and talking about specifically Abraham and reflecting on Abraham and how he lived in a tent because this wasn't his home. This wasn't what he was looking forward to. He was looking for that heavenly home. And so there was no point in so-called setting up shop or finding a permanent locale on this earth because this wasn't his home. And, I've spent a lot of time trying to invest in this life and in this earthly life and getting caught up in the trappings of what this world, what this this life has to offer. Not necessarily sinful things, but things that can be a trap, things that can become sinful, and things that just can take your mind away from where it needs to be. And some of that for me was just trying to build and develop my financial resources, not for the love of money, but just to have that security, like, if the Lord grants me old age, I'm going to get old one day. I need to provide for myself. I need to have investment and so forth. And, so, which in and of itself is not sinful. But what I've found is that I just focused on it so much that it became sinful and almost idolatrous, if you will. Maybe not quite to that extent, but and I've just found, you know what, to hell with all of this crap. I've realized that, again, getting older and starting to accumulate things, buying a home and buying a second home, or having a vehicle, or having this and that and whatever, and a big TV and all this other shit, it has not added one ounce of joy to my heart. It has not made my life better. There's convenience. There's ways in which it can make things easier or whatever, but it doesn't add to my happiness. It doesn't add to my joy. And in retrospect, in reflection, I see that when I look back at my life and I look at the times that I was most content and the times that I had and experienced the most joy in my life were when I was focused on the Lord, doing my best by His grace to abstain from sin, in the Word, in prayer, and it never had anything to do with material possessions. It never had to do with whether or not I was living in my truck, in the back of my truck, in a parking lot, or owning my own home. It was never related to things. It was always in relationship to the Lord. And so I've found in my striving for things that I've found these things are worthless and I don't want them. And so I guess the long story short is I feel like I need to make serious changes in my life and simplify. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Simplify my life in such a way that I'm not caught up in the trappings and the enticements of this world, and maybe it's simplified in such a way that I can devote more time to the Lord, to myself, to the kingdom work. So this I think is what I really would like prayer for those of you who would actually like to pray for me. I'm going to sell pretty much everything I own. There's obvious exceptions. I'm not going to go live in a tent. That's not where I'm going. But I'm going to sell my houses. I'm going to sell, all my furniture, all that sort of thing. Really, the only thing I'm going to keep is the necessity. Obviously clothes, tools, because I do have to work, but clothes, tools, guns, books. That's about it. Everything else is going. So at least the plan is, and what does Scripture say? It says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord who directs his steps. And my plans never work out the way I intend for them. But be that as it may, my goal, the plan, I'm going to liquidate, so to speak. I'm going to get rid of everything. I'm going to move out of California. And I'm probably going to the goal is to go to Idaho, up in the Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, Post Falls area. Up there, and if I can sell my houses, make enough money on my houses, or maybe even make enough on one house, my goal is to buy a piece of property up there and just drop a trailer on it. Go buy like a fifth wheel or something and drop a trailer on it and pay cash for everything and just simplify my life, get the bills, those necessary bills like a house payment and car payment and stuff. Just see if Lord willing, I could pay cash for everything, and then just live a simple life, and see if I can just focus on just me and Christ. And and like I said, it's all about getting away from all of this crap, like TVs. You know, I have a big ass TV, and don't get me wrong, I like movies. I'm a movie buff and stuff, but gosh, it can consume so much of your time sitting in front of a television. And so I got rid of television, my direct TV, and just those sorts of things. I just really want to simplify life and be more focused on what matters, because this life is fleeting. And I'm preaching to the choir, but it's what you do for Christ that matters. It's not what you have. It's not. Moth and rust is going to eat all this shit anyways, right? It's all going to crap. It's all going to burn anyways. So there's no point in investing in this. And as far as investing in the future for your so-called security as you get older, because we do have to take care of ourselves, and you always have to have a balance here, because you don't want to become a fatalist either. You don't want to fall into fatalism. But so you do have to have a balance. But I'm also reminded of all the scriptures where whether David's talking about it in the Psalms or the Lord is discussing it in various places, where you don't count your soldiers, you don't count your horses, you don't put your trust in the amount of horses that you have, or the amount of men you have in your army. Your trust needs to be in the Lord, because the victory, the battle is won because of the Lord, because you have the Lord on your side, not because you have 5,000 horses. And so trying to find that balance where you recognize that you don't want to be fatalistic and just, I'm going to sit here and money's going to fall into my lap, because that's fatalism. But at the same time, recognizing that we need to trust the Lord to provide. And finding that balance is a difficult thing to do, but it's also an important thing to do. And so I want to find that balance. And I don't want to work my life away trying to invest for my future or trying to accumulate crap. I'd rather work part-time and enjoy my life and do something meaningful and purposeful for the kingdom than to fulfill my own fleshly, worldly desires, which aren't necessarily sinful desires, but I'm a car guy, so I've always wanted to build a hot rod, and I've had several, but I never finished them. And I always want to build a hot rod. Well, what the hell with it? If I don't get to build one, I'll build one in the next life, right? I wanted to accumulate houses and have rental properties, and I got one. Great, big deal, and they don't even pay rent. So, to hell with all that crap. And it's just about trying to conform my desires to the will of God, and trying to discover what exactly the will of God is for me. And so if you guys could pray about that. I'm really trying to, I did start remodeling my home. I need to finish it before I sell it, obviously. So and of course I got a ton of work coming up, which is good, but it's also bad because I won't have time to work on my house. So I need to get this done so I can sell this house and get the crap out of California. And I'm so eager to do it that I'm tempted to walk away from everything just so I can get the hell out of here. So anyways, if you guys could pray about that, and yeah. I just thought I'd make a video about this. I don't know, maybe it means something to some people. Maybe it'll resonate with others out there. Yeah. So, maybe if any of you live in Idaho, let me know. All right, guys. I'm out. Peace.